If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
We can't have you here without talking about Brooks in 1970. How did you get here? And I guess you're excited to be here.
Well, of course I'm excited to be here. 1970 World Series. I wanted to see Earl Weaver, and I got the opportunity to say to him, you know what, Earl, I'm still out. And he looks at me and he goes, what? I said, I'm still out at home plate. He said, Bernie Carbo. And of course, Brooks Robinson, the opportunity to come and be a part of his night, it's just a pleasure. I was sitting at home and I got a telephone call, and they said that a lot of Cincinnati players couldn't make it, and they asked me if I could, and I said I'd love to come, and Brooks Robinson's going to be here, Ross Grimsley and Paul Blair, of course Jim Palmer and all the players, and it's just an exciting event for me to be a part of, and I'm just happy that the museum, the legends, and Eddie invited me to come. It was a spare of the moment thing, but I'm living in Mobile, Alabama, so it was a great time, and I just am enjoying myself being around the players. It's been a long time. I think I haven't seen these guys since 1993 when the All-Star game was here, so it's just a real pleasure to be here and be a part of this organization and being close to Brooks Robinson. Brooks Robinson treats you as though you're a Hall of Famer. I played the game, of course, but he's always kind. He's got integrity. He's very humble. He's a great player, great man. All has been said about him. I remember when I was 22 years old, looking across the field in the 70 World Series, watching him make all those plays and wishing he was on our team. He made some plays against Lee May and Tony Perez and some of the other players down there at third base when we thought we were going to lead off innings and get into a rally, getting the ball hit down the line for a double. Those balls go by, we get a man on second base. But they had too much pitching, too much defense, and too much offense, and we ended up losing that World Series in 5 games. But when that World Series was over, Mike Cuellar, I made the last out, I believe, in that 5th game, and I'm sitting in the locker, and I'm next to Tony Perez, and I said, Tony, when's our next game? What time we need to be at the ballpark? That's when you learn that the World Series, at the time, at the level that Brooks was playing, and the Baltimore Orioles and their pitching staff, their defense, and the hitting, they just over-dominated the Big Red Machine at that time. So they had a great baseball team.
You remember anything about Sparky Anderson, his reaction to a couple of those plays? And he was even though he had the gray hair, he was a pretty young manager.
Well, we could have used instant replay. I think the umpires make as many mistakes today as they did in the old days. But if you remember, I was a man on first and third in the 8th inning, and we were a couple runs down, and I was on third base, and the ball was hit down the line by Ty Klein. Jim Palmer came and got the ball, threw it to Elrod Hendricks. Ken Burkhart was in the way, and he was in the baseline. I had to go around him. I slid and missed home plate, and Elrod Hendricks tagged me with the glove and had the ball in the other hand, and Burkhart turns around and calls me out. Well, I started arguing the play, and I stepped on home plate. But Sparky Anderson comes out and says, if you get kicked out of the game, it's going to cost you $5,000. I was only making $10,000. So I shut my mouth and went back to the bench. But the funny thing about it, when I went to spring training, Elrod Hendricks said, did you see Sport Illustrated? And I said, no. He says, well, they got a picture of us. They're going to use it in their advertisement. I said, well, they sent me a check for $50. He said, well, yeah, $50. I was wondering what that was all about. $50. He said, that's all they gave us is $50. And then we saw Ken Burkhart, and he got $50. But,
that tag made the cover of Sports Illustrated.
For 10 years.
The game. Yeah, made
10 years they used that for their advertisement for 10 years from
and
1970.
It showed Burkhart's back to the play.
Yeah. That was a tough call. And it was bad because then I got the brunt of it because in the newspaper I lost the World Series first game.
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.